Hi everyone, Keandra back, and this time I've added some PowerPoint to my presentation to see how this works out. I'm actually enjoying the voice threads a lot more than I thought I would, so I'm excited to see what we do in the future with these, although I think there's still room for improvement. Okay, so Dotcom is experiencing three main problems that I could see. One, a rise in operating cost, which directly correlates with a drop off of profits. They've said they've had a drop off of profits for the last seven projects, which really makes me wonder what's changed that it just happened to start with these seven projects and other projects beforehand, but that isn't mentioned in the reading. And then let's see, the third problem is that it's required lots of rework. And of course, all of these things go together because if you require lots of reworking, it's going to rise your costs. And if your costs are rising, then how much profit you make from the project is going to go down. So we need to address and see how we can fix these issues. They Two project managers actually spoke up at their meeting and stated what they thought the problem was. One problem said One person said that if you work more with the client, then you know exactly what you want, but you have less time to develop it, which means that you're going to go over on the time to develop. And then another person says that if you or then no, sorry, the same person said if you spend less time with the customer and you don't find out exactly what they want, then you can find yourself having to rework the project over and over, which also leads to more cost. And then the another project manager spoke saying that even if you do take all the time and then the person comes and looks at it and they don't like the project, it's like you finish the whole project and then they just don't like it. And let's face it, that was probably a big deal in traditional project management, but we're going to look at techniques to fix this. Okay, question number one. How would I begin redesigning .com's project manager process to minimize the problems it is experiencing with poor scope management? Now, while the text does not clearly define what exactly their scope process is right now, I'm going to assume that it is the traditional project scope where they lay everything out on the table up front instead of using an agile approach where they just state the customer's wants and needs. With the I believe that they should make the change over to Agile because Agile will give them the structure that they need to go back and make changes if the customer chooses to make changes. It gives you more leeway. Of course, there's only so much leeway you want to give a customer, but at least you have that option to give them leeway without messing up your entire plan. Because with Agile, since you're just stating what the customer needs, their exact needs, you can take it one need or sprint at a time. Question number 2. Why do you think configuration management and project change control are difficult to perform in the middle of a complex software development project, such as those implemented at Dotcom.com? Well, that's a very easy question for me to answer, actually. Okay, so with programming, software, websites, there's a number of things that go together. You've got the UI, you've got the backend, you've got the database, you've got all of these things that make a very complex system. And when someone wants to go in and they want to either add something or take something away or tweak something. Well, tweaking, you can probably just make it one place or two places. But when you want to throw in a development or take out a development, each one of these groups has to go in and make changes to the project. This project is now going to become a little delayed. So one time, okay, but sometimes you have customers wanting to do that multiple times. And of course, this is going to lead to their projects being backed up and their projects being late. It's a part of the game. And not only is it time consuming, but it's frustrating for both the developers and the customers. That's why they should hopefully they would have a time limit of how many changes are allowed to be made to the scope and just have a deadline to say after this point there can be no changes to the scope. Okay, question number 3. Share any experiences you have with project change requests. Well, I've only had one major project that I'm in the middle of now for a client building a software for a daycare. And we started out with a very weak scope that kind of just developed as we went along. And I kind of regret that now. Okay, so the only change we had was after I got the entire thing built, we had to go back and reconfigure how one of the counts for the daycare is done. Instead of doing it by classroom, they needed it done by age. And it's not an unreasonable request, but it was at almost the end of the project. So not a big deal, except me still trying to figure out how I'm going to contact the database, get the age, bring it back, group and count. Never mind. Okay, and so yeah, that's my only experience with that. And if anybody listening knows how to make a local SQL database work, please let me know because I'm having trouble. Well, thank you all for your time, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.